Hi guys, in my channel, in my videos, I talk about 26 Korean words that were added to the 2021 version of the Oxford English Dictionary. The word I'm about to talk about in this video is Samgyeopsal, grilled pork belly. Let's take a look what the dictionary says about it. A Korean dish of thinly sliced pork belly, usually served raw to be cooked by the diner on a tabletop grill. The definition here in the dictionary is good, but not enough for you to understand what Samgyeopsal means to Koreans and how it became so commonplace for most Koreans at present. So I just want to talk about it. Here we go. Three most common kinds of meat in Korea are beef, pork, and chicken. I don't have any real figures or charts or evidence, anything like that. I can just feel it. Beef is somewhat expensive for just ordinary Korean people. Pork is in the middle. Chicken is the cheapest in general. So I'm assuming pork is one of the most popular kind of meat along with chicken. I'm not sure how pork belly is cooked in other countries. The one I can think of at the moment is bacon maybe? But Samgyeopsal would come to Koreans' mind first and foremost when they are told pork. A lot of Koreans enjoy eating Samgyeopsal with soju, one of traditional Korean drinks. Its alcohol content is from 15 to 25%. They are different from one kind to another. They are such a popular match that when Koreans want to have a drink, they would say, 오늘 삼겹살에 소주 한 잔? Which means, want to have some soju with samgyeopsal today? It's one of the most sought after matches like chicken and beer, aka chimek, pajeon, the Korean pancake, and makgeolli, also one of Korean traditional drinks. It's rice wine, sort of. And there's a story behind why Samgyeopsal became so popular among Koreans in the 1960s when two Koreas were torn apart by 3-year-long Korean War that ended in 1953. South Koreans started to breed pigs to export them to the international market, and then government tried to find a way to dispose of the most unwanted part of pork. What did they have done? They just sold them to Korean citizens on the cheap. Pork belly, Samgyeopsal, was one of those with pig's feet, pork rind, head meat, and intestines. So Korean people had found a lot of cuisines that made with those unwanted parts in other countries. So the dishes made with the parts are still the most common dishes for Koreans, and a lot of bistros and restaurants are there in Korea that deal in those samgyeopsal, grilled pork belly, 돼지 껍데기, grilled pork rind, pig's feet, aka 족발, braised with some soy sauce and spices, sundae. I'm afraid I'm not talking about the ice cream sundae. This is sundae. I don't know why, but Koreans spell it like this. Sundae made with pig's intestine or offal, whatever that is, and stuffed with, what is it? Cellophane noodles? Oh, it's amazing. I love sundae, but I have no idea what it is made of. And 국밥. That means soup rice when translated literally, with some pig's head meat in it. So some of the Korean cuisines were brought about during the rough time of the country. A rough time is a mild expression. A lot of people were starved to death day in and day out. Anyways, similarly, there's one more Korean cuisine that showed up after the Korean War, which is not the food made with pork though. It is 부대찌개. 부대 means a military, 찌개 means soup, which makes military soup. In the 1960s, as I mentioned, when the country was shattered after the Korean War, it was average Koreans' daily routine to forage for food. They didn't bring home the bacon, but brought home some leftovers from the US Army bases. Those were some sausages, hams, whatever. A lot of those were past shelf lives. I think they might have even scrambled for it to secure even some of them, as they are not the only one who wanted it. They were having a lot of other competitors waiting for the leftovers to come out in front of the US Army base. So they all go back home with what they've gotten from American soldiers, and they put them all together in one pot and boil it with some water with anything edible they could afford. That's how 부대찌개 started. Ingredients of 부대찌개 these days are somewhat different from what they were in 1960s, but 부대찌개 is still very popular among Koreans. You can even find some time-honored or franchise 부대찌개 restaurants all over the country, even frequented by international fellas. there could be some Korean food. There must be some Korean food that I missed in this video that came about when the country was going through a hard time. What I've told you so far in this video is one of the reasons why Koreans are rather immune to some eccentric food that you might find yucky. But that is another story. I think I can talk about it next time I have a chance. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. Hope it was fun as well as informative. See you next time. 안녕!